let's talk about the fisherman, fisher person. For the sake of simplicity, everyone, I'm going to talk about the concept of the fisherman. So what does a fisherman do? They fish. They either stick lines in the water or put out their reel and cast it, or they put nets in the water and they hope to catch fish, right? The line goes in. Fisherman hopes that their line gets a keepable fish. So why am I bringing this up on a narcissism channel? How does this relate to emotionally unhealthy relationships? And what I'm about to talk about, this fisherman thing, it's not all the people who do this are narcissistic. A lot of fishermen are just emotionally stunted. We'll take that on in a moment. The fisherman is the person who does the Hoover light. They are the ones who will occasionally out of nowhere text or DM you. Things like, hey, what's up? Hey, sexy, what's going on? Hey there, you miss me yet? I had a dream about you last night. And by the way, you're the fish in this analogy, okay? So the phishing text, and I mean F-I-S-H fish, not P-H-I-S-H scam message. The phishing text is usually non-committal and flirty, looking to see if the fish, you, will bite. The bite would be some kind of response, even if it's a thumbs down, but anything that is an acknowledgement of the text. Because basically what the fisherman's looking for is proof of life. If you do engage beyond acknowledging the text, that little thumbs up, they will try and draw you in. But here is where this whole phishing scheme gets interesting and what this video is about. Because if you respond too much, you get pulled in, like you start sending them more and more information about what's going on in your life, or you don't just keep it very light and playful, they might go quiet for a bit or just stop their little fishing trip with you. If you keep it light and flirty with them, but then let's say you start trying to talk with them about making a plan or something more substantial, then you're going to see that they take longer pauses in how they communicate with you. And you're pissed because now you're like, here I go. I started engaging with them again, and here they are disappearing again. And if you have a track record of this with them, it can feel like you're revisiting the way it has always been or always was with them either disengaging or disengaged exactly at the point you wanted to have them engage, and then they'll disappear and then they pop up from time to time. So let me give you some examples of the kinds of messages you might get from the fisherman. These could include the random birthday text after you haven't heard from them for a very long time. The Happy New Year, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy 4th of July, other holiday text. The concerned check-in, because there might have been a natural disaster near you text. Are you okay with that hurricane? But it was actually 500 miles away. The hey beautiful text. The whoa, look, your team won the finals, your team won the Super Bowl. That kind of text. The hey, I saw your sister, or at least someone who looks like your sister, at the airport. The hey, I finally did it. I got a boat. And then there's a stupid picture of them on their stupid boat. You kind of get where I'm going with this, right? The fisherman, the fishing message, it's a dip, a little dip in, a testing of the waters. And it's dangerous if they send this and they catch you at a vulnerable moment. For example, you may be alone on that holiday or birthday they're texting you on. Maybe you're having a bad day or you had a breakup. Maybe you're lonely. Maybe the storm actually did come close to you and your other friends didn't reach out, but the narcissistic fisherman actually did. Or maybe they catch you at a moment when you're actually pretty lighthearted. Maybe you're in a good mood, you're pumped because your team did win. So your guard might be a little down. That's what happiness can do. We're not maybe as vigilant. And maybe you are confident in how much you have healed. And you're like, I got this. I'm doing so much better. I can handle this light and easy banter. Listen, these phishing texts are Narcissism 101. People from a narcissistic person's past still serve as supply. It's almost like them having a collection of watches or fountain pens or little figurines, and that they keep in little glass cases, and they walk by them, and every so often they look at those little things in the glass cases, and every so often they reach into the cabinet and pick up something from their collection to admire it, and they feel gratified by it, and then they put the watch or the pen or the figurine back in the glass case, and they don't think about it again. It's kind of the same for you. The fisherman texts are aggravating because you, as the person getting them, may make the mistake of thinking that you're being too cool for school by just doing something like acknowledging it, like just giving them a thumbs up. That's even cooler than not acknowledging it at all. And that's the mistake. Because a fisherman is a lot better at reeling in the fish as far as they want. They will try all the old tricks to get your proof of life. Maybe they'll make you laugh. Maybe they compliment you. Maybe they tell you a piece of news about someone that you both knew that catches you by surprise. Maybe they start sharing about their lives. Maybe they start sharing some really sad news. Now, since most of you are empathic, the more they do this, at some point, some of you may bite at the line, and that's when it's easy to get pulled in. It's hard at that point, once the conversation begins, the back and forth. Something starts to shift within you, and then this whole fishing expedition seems to be getting ahead of steam. It might start escalating to like, hey, we should just do a call sometime, or even just get together. I'm going to be out your way in the next few weeks. That right there is the crucial crossroads on this fishing trip. Because if you think like, oh, this is cool, it's just like a little easy and light, walk down memory lane, or that you think like, oh yeah, I guess talking to them in phone or in person is going to be a lot more efficient than all these texts. Who knows, there might be some tiny echoes of trauma-bonded hope that are floating in, or at the very least, you're confident, you're feeling good about how you look, you think, I can show them what they lost. Then you might even say to them, to the fisherman, say, sure, call me now. I'm just sitting here hanging out. And then they go silent, crickets. Or maybe you say, sure, I'm around this weekend. You said you're going to be in from out of town. What works? Their response at that point, if they even do respond, if they don't just go silent, may be a lot of slippery nonsense. They might say stuff like, oh, I can't now, or I'm just still figuring it all out, or they may revert back into their flirty playfulness and not answer your question. And now you're frustrated and maybe even angry at yourself. Well, you aren't a fish. You are a person. And you are also human. Trauma bonding takes a minute, many minutes, to fade. When we make progress in our healing, we become strangely vulnerable to this fishing nonsense. And when the games begin, these mental games they play, and they don't follow through because that's not what they're looking to do, frankly, that is ultimately a blessing. But you may still feel foolish thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I got pulled in again. When I truly believed I'd fully hit radical acceptance. I mean, texting and DMing and other forms of tech communication make this whole fisherman thing much more common. I want you to have a visual in your mind that the narcissistic person is just lying on their couch, scrolling through their phone, bored, and in many cases, casting lots of little fishing lines in the water. The flirty repartee with you could be their evening's entertainment. And not just with you. And no, they aren't pining for you. And yes, you are special. But the fisherman doesn't have the capacity to see it. Just because they can't see it doesn't mean it's not true. The fishing thing, though, is actually not hoovering. It's almost like sport fishing. Throw the line in the water, but throw the fish back if you catch it. If you were allowing the conversation to unfold and then try to set it up that you might see them or call them or make the conversation more robust, that's when they kind of fade or disappear. That's the shame part, that you actually initially swam around the worm on the hook and were too smart to bite. Then, because more worms were coming in the water, you took a little bite of it, and then you feel terrible that the hook got into your mouth. The fisherman experience takes us back to the superficiality of these relationships, because that's how people who are narcissistic do relationships. It's also a way for them to flex that muscle, to see if they still have those people who will still grab at their hook, which of course feeds their ego, and their ego it constantly needs to be fed. Seems like a non sequitur, but bear with me. I just read in the New York Times that some decades back, that the Atlantic cod that fishermen would catch in the North Atlantic Ocean were huge, like as big as a small child. But over time, the cod has evolved. Now they're much smaller and they fit in your hand small. That's what the fishermen are catching now. It's not because all of the big fish got caught. It's because the ones that remain have evolved, and the ones that have survived are the cod that are small enough to swim out of the net. Survival of the fittest and reproduction of all those cods that did survive. My hope is that this education I'm giving you every day about narcissism is your Atlantic cod story, that you're evolving to swim out of the net. Don't give in to the lines in the water, and don't become a fish story, tempting as it may be. And be kind to yourself if by chance you get hooked for a minute. And be grateful when they throw you back. It may sting for a minute, but in the long run, it's a win. Thanks again.